he had an impact to a lot of people. Now, I always try to use any platform that I get to speak about what we stood for as the Youth Chamber. And I would have wished that we would have more young people in this house. Because that's what Chuma believed in, empowering young people. A testimony of what can happen when you go for what you want in life without any doubt. Chuma knew what he wanted to do, and he went for it. Hence, we are here talking about what he achieved at a very young age. I mean, not many of us leaders in NAFCOC were at the level that Chuma is, regardless of how old we are, what age we are in. This young man managed to achieve a lot at his young, tender age. If there was one thing that I remember about Chuma, we used to give our elders a bit of a tough time as young people. And we believe that as young people, we need to be heard. As young people, our voice needs to be heard. Because if we don't nurture them at a young age, by the time that they are at a particular age, then they are experienced and they are able to achieve a lot of things. And Chuma was a testimony of that. A very, very a respecting young fellow. You know, if there was one thing, we would be in engagements with our elders, and amongst us, we will be told that these young people don't want to listen. They are full of arrogance and a lot of things, and are disrespecting elders. But when it came to Chuma, he would be the exception. You say, yeah, but this one, Chuma, he managed to put his point across, and in the same manner in which we are trying to put, but in a way that is respectful, and that just tells you how he was brought up. And those kind of things we learned from. And I remember we had a conference, I think it was in 2011 or 12. He was given an opportunity to speak. And this is what he said. He said, we are saying young people must be millionaires at an early age. Young people must be billionaires at an early age. And we are pushing for that kind of narrative to happen. And that was testament of the kind of life he was living. He believed that you can reach the sky no matter how old you are or how young you are. And as young people, we need to embrace what this young man has achieved in such a short period of time. And if you look around and you see the kind of lives that young people are living currently, we are taught to be employees. We go to school, you go to tertiary education, you go out and you seek a job. And one of the things that we wanted to achieve as the Youth Chamber was to try and influence and encourage young people to start taking business as a career opportunity. We wanted to go to the universities and create what you call a student chapter. And I'm happy to say we have already started. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that was Chuma's dream. That if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be an accountant, if you want to be an engineer, you don't have to be employed, but it can be you who employs others. And as Nkosana was saying, he had a dream, and he went all out to achieve his dream. I met him in 2010. And during that period, we were busy preparing for NAFCOC national elections of the Youth Chamber. And same to Nkosana, I remember he was with Boo and another lady. We met at Park Station. And he introduced himself for the first time. And he said, colleagues, I want to be president. By the way, I hail from the Free State. And he said, I want you guys to support me to become the president. And that kind of confidence that man commanded. Few months down the line, he was the president. And we were on the winning side, and they were on the losing side. We understood that by us differing does not make us enemies. And through his leadership, I've managed to meet people that I never thought I could meet. I've interacted with people that I never thought I could ever meet in my life, because he was a go-getter. And he always had all the answers. When we were faced with a difficult question and he could not answer, you would hear him say, this answer that is coming. Whether wrong or right, but the answer will come. And that is the Chuma Shweni that we knew. Whenever I would go to Johannesburg and we would have our meetings, I know for those 2 to 3 days we would not sleep. He was a hard worker. That man would sleep at 2 o'clock and wake up at 6 o'clock, and it was already on the road. He worked tirelessly to achieve what he wanted to achieve. And in the short period of time, he did it. He made his parents proud. He made us all proud. We can all point at him and say, he did. When he works hard. And I don't have much words to say today, because I was overwhelmed with emotions. As I said, it does not matter how long time is spent with you, but the kind of impact he had in one's life was great. And he cannot be forgotten. I cherish the times we had with him, the moments we shared with him, and the dreams we shared together. This was a man who was supposed to be leading the ANC Youth League as we were planning. I remember when he came here to the Eastern Cape, wanting to, he was being lobbied, by the way, because some elders within the ANC saw his potential and said, this is the kind of character that we want to lead. And unfortunately, we don't have such characters in many movements now. We need people of that character, people of that nature, people who are able to stand up and do what needs to be done. And that was Chuma Shweni. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to have met this young man. And I cannot express what it meant for me to have met him. What a loss we are having in this organization. In 2018, we had national elections where we appointed President Sabara Matsongwane as our new president. I gave a call to Chuma. I think he was somewhere in overseas. I said, Mcha, we want to take over this organization, Chief. Where are you? Mchan, I'm somewhere, I don't know, it was Dubai or Australia. When is the elections? I told him, such and such and such a day. He said, I'm going to be there. And on that day he came and he delivered the president. He said, I will not go until we have President Sabara Matsongwane appointed as the president. I'm not going to go until I support the young people in taking over this organization. Because our vision is that we don't have to be old for you to lead. As young as you are, if you are mature enough, then you, by all means, do take the reins. On that note, program directors, I want to say thank you for having known this young man. We've had a lot of great times together. We've had a lot of sleepless nights together. We have lots of parties together. Unavaipa Chuma when time allowed, but he needs to work hard when time allowed him to work hard. By that, I want to say thank you for the opportunity to have met with him, for the family for borrowing him to us, and being impactful in all the lives of young people. I thank you, Chair.
Thank you, SG. You know, Sesi Youth and Dala, by the way. Well, no longer that you see Youth and Dala. So SG, Yazi Youth has its own way of doing things. My city 5 minutes, youth area no for 5 minutes, then Rina will come. I think that's how he understood it. And hence he went beyond the 5 minutes. Before we call on the next speaker, please allow me to mention the following. And this will not be part of the abuse like I abused you earlier. Before I even mention it, you know, you can't speak of SG, of Chuma as a comrade, without Ukshayin Gom. You can't. You can't mention Chuma as a comrade without Oliver Tambo, Bisanda Sa, Wetambo. Bisandla sam Oliver Tambo bam Bisandla sam Wetambo bam Bambo ngasiyekeli bam Bisandla sam Wetambo bam Bisandla sam Oliver Tambo bam Bisandla sam Wetambo bambisan Siolale mahlathini bambisandla sidliwa izilwane ba isandla sam Oliver Tambo bambisandla sam Wetambo ba amandla. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We just had to switch a bit to speak to a part of Chuma's life that most of you might not have known. You know, a proper young fighter, a leader, a young lion. That was Chuma Shweni. Now let me touch also on one aspect that most might not be aware of or sufficiently conversant with. Chuma hated corruption. Chuma hated corruption. In the last days of his life on earth, Chuma was no longer as active as he should have been in NAFCOC, and I'll tell you why. In black organizations, not necessarily in NAFCOC, in black organizations, we have a tendency of, you know, when you are elected into positions, I always emphasize this. It might not be a nice thing to say, and it might not be something that people will want to hear, but whether we like it or not, leadership is an elitist activity. Leadership is an elitist activity that allows you to meet people ordinarily you wouldn't have met if you're not there. Leadership will allow you to travel the world and meet serious people while we wait for your report here at home. Leadership propels you into so many other things. Now, instead of using the platform that leadership allows us to achieve other things, In our organizations, we then dip our hands into the cookie jar, siyajontja la ekhaya. State coffers are our own. State coffers, our own. Union coffers, our own. NAFCOC coffers, our own. And so goes many other organizations. Now here's a young man who does not dip his hand into the cookie jar, who uses this position, one, to deliver on the mandate, because that's very important. You deliver on the mandate because we did not elect you for any other thing but except to deliver on this particular mandate. Now you deliver on the mandate, but because this platform has also allowed you and enabled you to access other things, you go there and you build other things for yourself. And that's not corruption. That's not corruption. That is ambition. You are being industrious. And there's nothing wrong with that. But Tina, we dip our hand into the cookie jar. Siyajontja la ekhaya. Over the past 10 years, not less than President 60 million disappeared, one of cock. Not less than 60 million disappeared. And Chuma was alongside those who fought the battle to recover such monies. And I said to you at the memorial service, President, that you are being lobbied, and I'm doing it again, President, at the expense of getting a lashing sometime later, to say we're going to lobby the family, President. As some campaign that we mentioned, it says to fight corruption in the land, and we want Chuma's name to be amongst the prominent names that are used in fighting corruption, because that's what he stood for. And that's very important. He hated corruption, and we need his legacy more than anything should be that this man hated corruption so much that those who remained behind took the fight forward. That is very important. Thank you. May I call now on the next speaker, a representative from the Eastern Cape ANC Youth League. Eastern Cape ANC Youth League. I think they would know who's been allocated that responsibility. Eastern Cape ANC Youth League. Are they here? If it's not, I think anyone from the executive of the Eastern Cape ANC Youth League, even if it's not the person who might have been initially identified, since they're not here, maybe any one of you can come forward. Okay, no, I think we'll then move on to the next one. An employee of Chuma Shweni to come and pay tribute to Chuma's life, Gugumoya. Maybe as you can check outside, maybe there's people staying outside. All these names, other names that we're mentioning, some people might be outside, but we'll move on and maybe try umngane kaChuma, a friend, uSipho Dinwayo. Sipho Dinwayo. Or is it me who does not? Oh, Siko Dinwayo. Sorry, I said Sipho. Siko Dinwayo. Oliver Tambo. We Tambo. Isandla sam. Oliver Tambo. Bambi Sandla sam. wetambo bambi siyolale mahlathini sidliwa yizilwane isandla sam Oliver Tambo bambi isandla sam wetambo amandla.
Ndibulisa wonke umuntu okhoyo apha endlini namhlanje. Igama nguSiko Dinwayo. Uchuma ngumfo endandikhula naye. So apho sadibana khona noChuma, I think the earliest memories endinayo of uChuma was around 1991. Sifunda eVela. And how we met, sasingabantu baba late every day esikolweni. So ufika sidlala ke utouch. So sileqana before class ke side sibethwe baba singene elento eziklasini. So sasahlala eKhuwezi ke thina at the time, unknown to me behlala eSouthridge, and in fact sasingazani namagama engilamntana wasesikolweni. So move ke from eKhuwezi to Southridge, and coincidentally we moved in the next door kwabo. So baqina ke kanjalo ubuhlobo because nabazali nabo they ended up getting along. Umama uNoluthando nomama onzalayo uMonalisa, they became very close friends nabo. In fact noChuma lo wayimpintshe enkulu kaMonalisa. So sasimosha ke nomnganam sibethwa ngutata lo. Sidume kakhulu ke ngoba imoto sidume ngoba imoto. And then so there was this other time apho so sidlala wrestling apha noChuma. So ke believe it or not ke I managed to put him through like a window pane. So on his arm here he had like a few scars, and then later on sithathe le moto eyichikwe bomvu kanti uzoyobanjwa uChuma later yabona. So ekubanjweni kwakhe azobhayilwa ngutata kaThembelani. So andiyazi ke ba how word got to esikolweni apha wayifunda khona ba hey hayi lo muntu lo ebebanjiwe. Xa ngoku seyisithi hayi ezazikazi bamgwazile ejele yonke laa nto. So ya wengumuntu onjalo kuChuma, so besonwaba kakhulu nomnganam and ndizomkhumbula. Yeah, mandime apho.
Oliver Tambo. Oliver Tambo. Joburg, when we were doing the memorial service about Mampinga, she could not make it here today. She would have asked them, "Uba anikwazi ukucula na?" But thank you very much for that. Without wasting any more time, we are trying to move the program as we go. So you'll forgive us for not following the order in which the program is printed. It was printed before. Ezinye izinto zithola ama-confirmation. Ngoku I'm going to ask ukuba kuze i-business associate if akhona aze phambili azothetha nge-associate yakhe uChuma. I tried to look around because some of his business associates ngiyazazi. But if akhona siyacela ukuba aze phambili azothetha ngoChuma. Chiko Thank you very much. It doesn't look like we have IPIS Associate khona manje. We're going to move on because sazoba nenkonzo kamfundisi, which might take a bit of time. So we are trying to move with the program as quickly as possible. I'm going to call his siblings zika Chuma to come forward. Bazothetha ngoChuma.
Mandibulise kodada abakhoyo omama abakhoyo ndibulise kunkosi anga ngomhlaba ndibulise abazali ndibulise ichomi nayo wonke umuntu ne siblings ngegama lika Yesu Kristu Nkosi yethu amen umna ke ndingunoluthando ndimele i-siblings which is abantu akwabo kunye nefamily uChuma akhule phambi kwakhe kwayo ekhula nathi uChuma ke usincinci apha kum ndimshiya mna nge13 years uzalwa ndikhona ibingumntana ke othathe kumama notata uthathe izstrong points zakhe kumama wathatha izstrong points zakhe kutata ibingengomuntu ke othetha kakhulu uChuma ngumntu apha onobubele ububele bakhe uzabona apha ebusweni ngokuncuma uzambona ngezenzo uzambona ngesupport asinika ifamily uChuma ke ibingumuntu ohumble kakhulu thule ubhuti if ufuna into kuye uzathi okay sisi uzayibona isenzeka ebabathanda ke unothando ke uChuma umthandile umamakhe umthandile utatakhe uyabona ke ngoba besebhayi bendimbona ethe nca kumamakhe ke nodade babo mhlamba athunye ke nangumamakhe bakhe uye pha kusisi nolthando uyofuna into ethile nento ethile umbone ngena sisi uthi umama uChuma ke yabona abantwana bakho kwabo uyabathanda kakhulu uChuma uyayithanda ifamily yakhe uChuma ebezidina asuke apho akhoyo bakukho into kokwabo umbone engena noba beningamlindelanga na uzambona engena encumile besisithi ke sinotamnci ke apha abafekethayo uthi wawungena ke ekomani okanye ungena eQamata sebesondela ke mtshana uyazazi into ezityiwa ngumalume uChuma ke bengasokolisi ke apho ebeda ngasokolisi nathi yabona ke pha kwaDlomo sizinhlobo zimbini zikhona ezitya kakhulu zikhona ezingatyiyo yabona ke thina sityayo besithi nca kakhulu pha kuye siyayazi bukhona sixhelelwe exhukwana uChuma uzasinika yonke siyilento siyifunayo naba bangatyiyo siyayazi babo baxhelwe ngeyabo ke indlela bona kodwa ke uChuma usithandile apha ekhaya ubathandile abantwana bakokwabo ubathandile abazali bakhe kubhlungu kuthi but Mongezi sisinolthando inxeba litsolo libhlungu ukuthi kubekusela ke xa uzele umntana akushiye ngolhlobo. Xa ungumzali your wish into ba ungcwatywe ngumntana wakho, nothi wena ungcwabe usana lakho. Kuthe kwawufika umphanga pha ndalunywa, ndicinge wena sinolthando ba aziba njengoba kulunywa mna wena kuthi nina kuwe. Andisathethi ke ngobhuti wam uzithulele uthe cwaka, ndimcinga ndaqonda uba oh wonzakele ke naye. Ndisithi as much as ba kubuhlungu kuthi thuthuzelekani, masithuthuze masixoleni bantwana basekhaya. Utshilo umfundisi apho wathi wonke umuntu unemini yakhe and sihamba ngohamba. Funny enough bekuthiwa kukhole corona, icorona iyasithatha ke thina bantu badeki sisindile kuyo. Njani sana uthe kwawufika nje hayibo njani uchuma gqithe kule corona awugqibe ahambe ngolu hlobo. But ke asizumsola uThixo. uThixo imini yakhe wonke umuntu unayo apho uba uzawuhamba njani, and asizazi sonke uba sizawuhamba njani. Kukho omnye utata kwathiwa caba waye emntwini, kwathiwa uzawusweleka ngoku uzawufumana i-accident. Zange baphinda ikhwela imoto la tata, akafuna uphuma endlini. Kuthiwa kwathiwa makuhanjwe athi andikabi ready for ukufa. Gqi usana lwakhe luqhuba imoto apha, nako limgile enyaweni wothuka wasiqaqa wasweleka, accident ke. So ndithi ke umuntu akazazi ba imini yakhe inini, kubuhlungu andifuna ulila. Ngange bethuna ngokufaka Chuma ifamily ngabambana ibenye. Ndiyayazi apha ekhaya siyasapotana. Mna ndiyaziduba ndisuke nalapha eBhayi ndize apha noba kukho ntoni na. Nabo bayaziduba basuka apha eKomani naseQamata baye eBhayi noba kukho ntoni na. Masiyibambeni ngolo hlobo. Iyantlukwana yona masingayivumeli. Ndiyabulela enkosi.
Thank you very much. Angeke ngikhone ukubavalela because bakhona lapha phambi kwami. I'm going to give them a minute each. But nje. Okay, just one person. Okay, thank you.
Ndiyanibulisa ngegama lika Yesu Kristu Nkosi yethu. Amen. Anga ngomhlaba. Ndibulisa utata umfundisi, ndibulisa abazili, abantu abadala, ulutsha obelihamba noChuma. Ndibulisa wonke umuntu owazidina wafikelela kule ndawo. Ndibulisa nembongi ezikhoyo kule ndawo. Igama lami ndinguvuyelwa Shweni. Ndithunywa bantwana abazemva koChuma. Ndinguvuyelwa, ndingusisi wabo omdala. Kushiyana nje ngodada bethu. Loo nto indenza uba ndibe mdala ke ngoku. Yeyona nto ibivele isilwise ke noChuma uba kaloku xa uyintombazana endala uye ube mncinci noba sewumdala ngenxa yoba yena ungumfana. Ilwe leso sikhundla into engenamsebenzi ke phofu siblings zenza njalo kakade. uChuma ke sidibanisile neefamily zethu kakhulu. Ngoku beseRhawutini bengaphumlanga. Sizazi zonke. Nako Rustenburg P besidityaniswa ngoChuma. Into esiyibulelayo ke leyo. Athi xa ekushiyile ke ngoku uvile uba kuyiwa kuloo ndawo. Athi andazi nento ibiyenza uba ungayi mba ndandikwazisile. Ube right kakhulu. Enobubele yiyo ke into adume ngayo. Enabo nobu mischiefanyana. Alakhe uxola ndibeki uzangixolela sikweza sami. Ebengichama boy. Uyaziwa. Uyamazi Sibu. Sikhona ke professor Sifo kwaDlomo. Siyaziwa. Xa wendele khona ayo uyawulala ngenxeba okanye ulale ngoYesu. Didibana ke naye uChuma. Njengoba imane sithutha ke xa sinyuka sisiza apha zonke izibeleni phi sihamba nalo Chuma. Xa epha eRhawutini ke akabambeki. Ubusy. Uya kulibala kule ndawo ubuhambe nayo kuya kushiya apho. Uyawuthi umbuza Chuma uphi? Oh, ntase, I'm just around the corner. Kuyiphini ikhona lo muntu kunini esiza. Uyawulinda ke phofu ngoba awuzokwazi ubuye lapho uhambe khona uhambisa izindawo zakhe ongazaziyo. Inene ke xa ufika uthe around the corner athi yeyona nto bungayazi nale khona ebendikuyiba yiphi. Ngelo xesha I was around the corner. Ndimbona ke TV ngenye imini interviewer nguVuyo Mvoko. Hayibo ndiyamfonela, hayibo ithini into? Utheni wa interviewer ngumuntu omkhulu kangaka? Bezingasekho nezinye intanga zakho mhlawumbi amachanyana. Athe yona nto ndithatha kancinci. Unalo mali emahlale ehamba naye. Chuma mali malo nina ke enough khokho. Nina banelakhe. Ngoba benomalima enoandisa. Ubani andile all. Enichumi yakhe. Hayi ke uChuma. Ndithi kuba bonke abantu nyani umalima. Uthi he unje ke uyawuhlala unje. Siyaqhubeka siyaphambili thina. Wena uyawuhlala ulambe kanje. Ndithi makangifunele umsebenzi ke kulo malima. Uthi undijaja kangaka nje nomalima. Eyona nto ekufaneleyo ke wena. Ngoba uhamba ubuza too much. Ndiza kuvulela ifish and chips. Uxova amagwinya. Hayibo uthina lo mntana ezothi nixova amagwinya umfowethu emane vela nasezi TV. Ayingabi namsebenzi lonto uza kushiya pho ke phofu. Uchuma ke ngulo muntu waziwayo ngobubele. Ndithunyiwe ke ngabantwana bakowabo. Uba ndixelela abantu uba bamthandile ubhuti wabo bebemthanda nabantwana bakhe. Nomakoti siyabulela utata usixelela uba isenguwethu. Alakhe usenguwethu. Ndiyabulela ke Madlomo. Ndiyambulela umoya oyingcwele ngoba ndimthembile uzasithuthuzela ngegama lika Yesu Kristu inkosi yethu. Amen.
Asibulele kulo message from his siblings zikaChuma. They spoke very well. I know I had allocated a minute each, but then I just allowed them because there was only one speaker who spoke on behalf of all the siblings. Sizawudlulela phambili. Sizawubiza ngoku sizawenza reading of messages. Pha phambili kukhona abantwana, the kids. Sicela abantwana bazofunda messages that they've got for utata.
Hello?
On this side.
Hello?
Okay.
How are you? And you? Good, good.
I'm gonna read this for you. This is from Junior. This is a message to his dad. Daddy, I may not understand everything that is happening right now, but I know, Daddy, that you love me and my sister so much. Rest in peace, Daddy. I will love you always. That's the message from Junior. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
A beautiful message from Junior. As you can see, ufana no Chuma. Chuma nje. He's a spitting image of Chuma. Okay. I've got tributes in front of me here. This one comes from. Let's start with the one Iagano Lutand. I've got one here which was handed over to me. I've been requested to read it. I'm not Noluthando. But ndiceliwe uba ndiyifunde. It goes as follows. I know that my dad is not here telling me this or tell me this, but I'm here to tell him this and that I love him with all my heart, and that his family does, and that we miss him so much, and we will always love him. And this is a message from Noluthando. Wasefaka inhliziyo ukuba uyamthanda utatakhe. I've got another one, a tribute. Okay. Ibuya kufezile Dantile. Am I reading it correct? Okay. A tribute, read as follows. Gone too soon. Okay. Kufandini akuva. Kufandini uluchaba. How could you rob us of such a fine young man? Umfana obesaze ngobuso elizweni. Sisajonge lukhulu kuye. Suka ngephanyazo. Wamxhiphula oko. Ibhalwe in cursive, so it's very difficult to read. Nobody says close. Maybe somebody can assist me. Somebody who's very, yeah.
Okay.
Lapha ngobuso elizweni.